Welcome to Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Being a fireman, father, veteran, husband, world record holder, and Ironman, he brings stories of experience to impact your life while challenging you to live it. What do you want from your life? Why do you want it? Are you willing to go through the challenges to get there? If you have the courage to take that first step, let this podcast be the catalyst to start your fire, while you bring the resilience to make it continue to burn. Our lives are made up of moments called right nows. So let's get started. Forged in the Fires podcast with your host, Fireman Rob, begins now.
Welcome back to Forged in the Fires podcast. I'm your host, Fireman Rob. Today's guest, he's an amazing individual who is an author and had the book created into a movie released in 2021. He's a police officer, inspirational speaker, talks about mental resilience, break every chain. Jonathan Hickory, how are you doing today?
Great, Rob. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing good. This is exciting. I was reading about the book. I was reading about the movie. We'll get into those, but I want to go back to, you were a police officer in Virginia, and what really drew you to that career field?
Well, first of all, I am still currently an active officer. I have 19 years of experience and counting, so I'm still in the job.
And counting, I love that.
Yeah, or sometimes it's depending
and counting down, right?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely counting down. But what drew me to the field originally, I never set out to be a police officer, but I was actually working in the IT field. And I was working in the IT field during the 9/11 terror attacks. And when that happened, about 5 months later, I ended up losing my job. My company went bankrupt from, Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And so I started looking at law enforcement as a way of job security, I guess, because it was really a hard time to find a job in the information technology field.
Right.
I was actually unemployed for almost half of a year looking for work. But so I ended up getting into law enforcement. I did feel especially after 9/11, I felt a strong calling towards serving my community, my country, and law enforcement was my way to do it.
I love it. That's, it's interesting, like coming from a different field. What was the biggest change that you saw in yourself when you went from, having the IT job to getting into the police field, not really knowing kind of what to expect?
Well, I thought I knew what to expect because, Cops was popular on TV at that time. And so I thought I had it all down, and I would watch like Forensic Files and all these ridiculous shows that, some of them are good, but I think that they don't paint a very good reality of the job. And so, once I got into police work and once I started, the academy and things like that, I was very excited. It was awesome. Like everything that I did and everything that I experienced was the most awesome thing ever. It was it looked like the TV shows coming through, are coming true. But I think that, it started to change me after maybe a year or two, because that newness starts to wear off. And then you start really getting exposed to some of the things that we see as first responders, and the things that they don't show on cops, like, the 6-month-old baby that died from SIDS, and stuff like that. So
right.
I think that it started to change me, and it starts to make you, like, if you don't have anything to keep you balanced, and you have maybe some unresolved trauma that you already have in your life, then it's going to start chopping you down pretty quickly.
That's a perfect segue to, a lot of people don't understand that it's not just the things that go on the job, but you also have a life that has traumatic and tragic things that happen in it. You had a great deal of things that happened to you. You lost your dad when you were young, and all these things that kind of tied into making it harder on you as a career. what was your first level of coping that you went to when everything started to pile on top of each other?
Well, I was doing pretty good, or at least I thought my
Hmm.
life was doing pretty good until I became a police officer. And, after the death of my father when I was 12, and he had battled cancer for just over a year, terminal cancer. When he passed away, it really affected my whole life, of course. And we actually moved about 3 months after he passed away
Oh,
from
wow.
Massachusetts all the way to Virginia. And so with that went a lot of my support systems, my school friends, and a guidance counselor that I was seeing in church and family. And so a whole new start to life, which
Wow.
can be perceived as a good thing, right? Kind of escaping that the pain and everything. But there was no support. There was no facing the trauma, and even if counseling had been something that I was forced to participate in as a young teenager, I
Yeah.
don't think I would have been ready to receive it, right?
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
and so, like, I struggle with depression and self-image and self-esteem issues, bullying, getting bullied, and things like that, as in my teenage years and in school. But I started doing better later in life, and met my wife, and like that was the best thing that ever happened to me, and still is to this day uh, here on Earth. But I think
Yeah.
that I was starting to do well. I had this new career in police work, and I just got married to my wife, and life was going good. But once I started to see the reality of police work and the newness of the job wore off, uh, with all that unresolved trauma that I was already carrying, and I didn't even realize how much the death of my father was affecting me every day. Um, but as I continued forward in the job, I started to turn to alcohol. And I think that while that is not a healthy coping mechanism, it certainly is one of the most common
Right.
coping mechanisms. And I think that in our culture, at least in the police world, I don't know about the fire
Same
world,
fire.
but
Same. Yep.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
alcohol is definitely culturally accepted, and there's always conversations about it, and all social activities, whether it's a
Center around it.
poker, yeah, a poker game, or a barbecue, or fishing, or whatever. There's usually some sort of alcohol involved. So I guess I thought that it was something that was okay to do, and once I started to partake of it, I really liked the way it made me feel. I mean, I never had a substance abuse problem before, but it
Right.
started to become a problem for me very quickly.
What was it? What was it allowing you to do? I think that's the one thing that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, they just drank a lot. What did it allow you to feel differently that you were struggling, that you didn't know you're struggling with, but all of a sudden you felt maybe a little more whole or being able to get through things?
I think that the alcohol, it made me feel like I could escape the reality of the
Yeah.
things I had seen and the things that in my life that were not pleasant. So going all the way back to, you know, the loss of my father, that is something that I knew that my life was broken and different than everyone else. I knew that my life was not the way that it was supposed to be. And when you believe that, and
Right.
there's a constant reminder of that inside of you. And so it affects everything that you do and how you relate to others without, without counseling and without talking it out. And so, yeah, I just felt like it helped me to escape reality, really, to the numbing effect, I guess. It just helped me to feel like I was able to deal with life better because I could momentarily escape it. But it was all just an illusion.
Right. Yeah, that's the crazy part, and it takes a long time to figure out that it is that illusion. Now you have three kids of your own, and you went through also a tragic loss of a child as well. Um, what did it mean to you once, having lost your dad at a young age? What did it mean to you to be able to have these kids and really almost carry on that legacy for your dad through you?
Oh wow! I guess that's good. You're going to make me cry. Are you trying to do that?
No,
That's
I lost my dad to cancer too, and
oh
I mean, I
wow.
got chills when you talked about it but I mean, I lost him later in life, so I had that ability to have him parent me and have that cornerstone. But you didn't have that, but you are carrying that legacy. So, what does that mean to you, Jonathan?
Well, that's powerful, and I'm sorry for your loss. And I want to say that no matter when you lose your parent, it's always too soon. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
or if you're 25, 35, 45, when a parent passes away, you're never ready for it, and it will always affect you. So, uh, as far as how it feels now to have these children, like I'm so there's been so much grace in my life and so much forgiveness, and just what I have been through and what I've done to others, not only just from not facing my stuff, not facing the pain and the trauma that I've been through. For a long time, I hurt a lot of people, and
Right.
so for me to be able to now live a life, and I'm not going to call it my best life now because that's such a I hate that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
what
it's terrible to say that,
yeah, what I am living is a life filled with redemption, restoration, and grace. And so, by surrendering my life to God and turning and getting counseling, that was
Right.
such a huge part of it. Not only for me, but for my wife and I. We were able to restore our marriage, and it's now stronger than it ever was before. And so now we have three beautiful children who are healthy and wonderful, and they're the most important things in my life. And so I'm just so thankful that I have that chance, because there was a moment where I almost took my own life, and if I had given into the darkness, then I wouldn't ever be able to see the joy that life has to offer. The grace
Right.
that's been showered down upon me, that I know that I don't deserve, but it's hope for those who are struggling, and who are just have had enough of life or this job, whether it's firefighting or police work, or whatever you do, um, that there's hope, that if you face the things that you have been plaguing you, that face the trauma in your life, that there is hope for restoration and redemption and rebuilding, and that you can live the life that you've always deserved to live, that you can live a
Right.
life that's free.
I love that statement. And now I have to ask you, because it's one of those things that a lot of people, they think about, going through the flu. You're going to get through it and you're going to get past it, right?
Yeah.
That moment that you had that darkness where you thought about taking your life, does that come back into your mind? And then how do you remedy that thought process into something to move forward, or go to a positive?
Um, I try to not to think about that, but I know that, like, so Ephesians chapter 6 says that, we fight against forces of, like, that we can't see, that of the
Right.
spiritual realm. And whether you believe that or not, you have to understand that, like, there is definitely good and there's definitely evil in this world. And so, um, I felt that when I was very seriously contemplating taking my own life, that I really could sense that there was, like, this battle for my soul going on, and like the
Yeah.
ultimate battle for good and evil. And what I have to remind myself now, if I ever get in a dark place, is to I get a vision in my mind of being in, like, this horrible sandstorm. I don't know why I go to a sandstorm, because I did a little bit of time with the National Guard, but I never deployed anywhere.
That's
So
interesting.
I don't
That
I don't know where.
you gotta look into a book about that.
Yeah, maybe it's too many Star Wars movies and Tatooine.
There
I
you
don't know.
go. There you go. You're gonna be Yoda.
So you just gotta, like, picture that in that dark moment, like, if you are in a storm, whether it's a horrible rainstorm, a snowstorm, a blizzard, or a sandstorm, or whatever it is, if you're in the middle of a storm, in the middle of that darkest moment, all you can see is a few inches in front of your face. You can't see the light. You can't see the positive. You can't see any hope. And you have to push forward and wait for that storm to clear, or push out of that storm, because that's when you can start to heal. You have to realize that it's only a temporary moment, and that you have to get through that negative, that negative thinking. I believe it's, demons that are swirling around you. I mean, but whatever you believe, you're in a storm. You can only see darkness and despair, and you have to believe and keep hoping and keep moving forward to get out of that storm, so that you can face that stuff. Like, you have to be able to face the evil, the trauma, the bad things in your life. And that's when you can, like, it's hard work. Nobody wants to talk about that stuff. I remember for years, my family, like, I did not want to talk about my dad, because it hurts, but you have to face that stuff.
Do you have like an outlet to be able to talk about bad call? I mean, I know in the firehouse we'll sit around the coffee, the table, and talk, and usually it's like humor that gets us through. Are you able to talk with your wife about some of the really challenging stuff, or do you have a different outlet? Because a lot of people have many different avenues to be able to do this.
Yeah. So if I have a really bad day at work, I mean, you guys see the same stuff we do. We might hang around at the crime scene a little bit longer, depending on what it is. But, if you've got a burned up house with kids in it, you guys are there. And so if you've got a child that's 11 or 12 years old and hangs themselves, it's the most horrible thing in the world, and you can't unsee that. And as a firefighter, or any rescue worker or whatever, like, you're there too. And so these are the things that plague us the most. These are the things that make us think that we live in a hopeless, fallen world, and can really get to you, especially if you have children of your own. And so what I do is I try to talk to my wife. I try not to give her all the details, but she at least, just because it's hard to relive.
They don't need to have it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's good to rehash that with a peer supporter. If you have a peer support team with your department, that's huge, because those people only do that because they care.
Right.
And so I would encourage you to utilize that, utilize your chaplain, utilize your peer support. And I know it sounds so cliche, but it can really help just to talk it out. And to get into the details that maybe you don't want to talk about with your wife. But I will tell my wife, I'll tell her, that I had a really bad day, and maybe that's where I leave it. But at least she knows, like, there's something going on that's affecting me. And so maybe she'll be a little less likely to, or a little more likely to give me some space, or maybe she'll make my favorite thing for dinner, whatever.
It's something. It's an awareness.
Right. The key is not to keep it to yourself, to talk it out, and that kind of normalizes it, and that doesn't make you a prisoner of it, where you feel like you're the only one that has to deal with it. And if it really continues to plague you, like, go see a first responder psychologist, because they can help you with techniques that can get it unstuck from your brain, like EMDR or whatever. But I think that another thing that helps me, Rob, is to, like, get outside and to get into my therapies. I call them therapies, but it's stuff like riding my motorcycle, going to the gym and things like that. Sometimes you just need to get out of your head and get into nature, or get into your body. And what I mean by that is exercise. And, we all know that exercise produces endorphins, and so it makes you feel good. And, while that's not a long-term fix, keeping a regimented physical fitness routine can help you. Getting outside and just getting into nature's beauty can be incredibly therapeutic. Some people write, some people garden, some people sew, like, not me, but I know
come
you
on.
do.
You're making blankets. I know. I know it.
Quilting
Quilting while in the front of the police car.
There's shame. I have no shame in that.
I love it. I love it. So, one of the biggest things that I know with myself that I struggle with is silence.
Uh-huh.
And like, you said motorcycle, get out and work out. And like, I do those things and I always have music on or something like that. Do you see that struggle? You said get out of your own head. I love that, because that that is totally the conversations in your head that really kind of mess with us. How
Yeah.
did you start to organize those conversations to be more positive and be more productive?
Well, one thing that has helped me is, I'm not going to make this all about my faith, but I had to diversify my friend's portfolio. And so what I mean by
Okay.
that is I had to stop hanging around with only cops, because you can't
Yeah.
escape the job if all you do is hang around with other cops. And I love my police officer and firefighter friends. Like I love my first responder community brothers and sisters, but that's not all who I'm going to do life with,
Right.
because every time you're off duty, no matter what you're doing with them, it's always going to go back to work, and your brain does not need that all the time. Like, it's supposed to be off time. So what I've done, one thing that I did is I joined a small group, a men's group through my church. I go to a first responder Bible study as well right now.
Okay.
But I also have a men's group that I go to that isn't first responders, or isn't only first responders. And so that way I've got other people in my life, other men in my life that are from different walks, and they can give me different perspectives. And I may not get into all the details of things with them, but it is good to remember that not everyone in the world, sees the world as a dark place like we sometimes do. It's a good reminder that the world is a
Yeah.
good place. We just have to deal with all the crappy parts of it.
You put that so eloquently.
I know. Yeah.
That's perfect. That was perfect. Now, I want to get into the movie, the book that you wrote that turned into a movie, Break Every Chain. I saw that you had over 1 million views on YouTube. That's quite impressive. What was the premise behind this? And when you started this project, what did you hope to get out for yourself as well as to be able to give to others?
Well, writing a book was never on my list of things to do, for
Just
sure.
like knitting.
Right. That's just like knitting and quilting. They're in the list of things to do, but I can't help myself. No, so the book kind of was born when I had been going to this men's group with my church for a while, and they had prayed me through some horrific stuff in my life, through the crisis in my marriage where my wife found out about the infidelity, and so they prayed me through all the crisis that we went through in the counseling and the I had no idea if I was going to if my wife was going to leave me or what.
Right.
But then once the marriage was restored and we became pregnant with another child, after the loss of our child before, I was terrified that something bad was going to happen. So they prayed over that pregnancy, and my son was born healthy. And so when my son was born, we were rejoicing in that. And one of the guys in my men's group, his name was Cornell Smith. After the group had ended one night, he said, "Brother, I feel like you're going to write a book." And I say it like that because he was like the only man of color in our group.
Right.
The only black guy in our entire men's group, which I wish we had more diversity in our churches sometimes.
Right.
But he is this amazing man of powerful prayer, and you could just if he starts praying, you just kind of you just stop doing whatever you're doing and you listen. And
Love that.
just such an amazing man. And he said, "Brother, I feel like you're going to write a book." And I'm like, "What, brother? I feel smoking crack or something." You know,
It's
I'm
not
a
going to work.
cop, right? Like,
Yeah.
we hate to write. If you, I'm sure you guys are the same way. You don't want to do that paperwork, right?
No, no.
So it definitely was not well received. I thought he was crazy, but God really laid it on my heart in that moment, and then I started being surrounded by people who were writing books or had written books or whatever. I'm like, okay, God, I get it. Like, yeah, you want me to do this. So I started to write, and I started to lay out the outline, and I would write one chapter at a time, and my mom actually helped me to edit it. Like I would
My
bounce one
mom helped me edit my book too. That's
No
great.
kidding. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. That's great. Well, they're the best. I mean,
Oh,
so
yeah.
she's been my number one supporter from the beginning. But even while I was writing it, Rob, I was like, why am I doing this? This is such a waste of time. No one's going to read this. It's garbage. Like, why God, why? And so I wanted to add that during that time, I had no idea about any of this mental health stuff. I had no idea about how much it plagues us in the first responder community. I had no idea about all the suicides. No clue while I'm running this book. So I write the book. I'm ashamed to write about the moment I almost ended my life. I'm ashamed to write that I went to go see a counselor. I didn't
Right.
even write about originally. It's in an afterword now, but I did not write about the fact that I went to see a police psychologist for 5 months. Because I felt like the other counselor I saw would cover that part of it. But that's now in the book as well. I added that. But when it finally came to publish the book, and it was like it was finally out, and I wanted to start marketing it and getting it out there. That's when I started realizing like the purpose behind it. That's when I started realizing that suicide is the number one killer of cops and firefighters and dispatchers
Right.
above line of duty every year, and that this is a huge problem in our community. That's why there's so many alcoholics. That's why there's so many marriage problems. That's why there's so much domestic violence, because we have so much unresolved. And so, I never started out to do anything but basically be obedient to what I thought God was telling me to do. But now
Right.
I'm starting to understand His purpose in it, for sure.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Make sure you guys go to breakeverychainmovie.com. You can find out more there. And it's just been an honor to talk to you, and I can't wait. I'm going to watch that movie. I haven't watched it yet. I watched the trailer, but it's powerful. That's
Yeah,
what I was reading a lot of the comments, and it's powerful. So I got to really be in a good headspace to be able to watch it. So.
it is powerful. It's not light and fluffy. It deals
No,
with
it's not like
stuff.
it's not like Dumb and Dumber or anything like that.
Oh, no, here's
I didn't know. I
kind of
didn't.
ironic about the film, Rob, is that I play a firefighter in the film, so
Oh, so you
I
went to
get
the right
to
side of the hill.
yeah, kind of like get to live my dream for just a minute there. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. That's what we always hear.
But I will say just real quick that the film has won over 20 film awards,
Wow.
and we're not talking like it is a faith-based film, but these are regular film festivals like Las Vegas, New York, London, Prague. So multiple
Amazing.
awards around the globe for this film. It's very good. It's free to watch on many platforms. Amazon Prime, if you have that. Also Tubi, Vudu, and YouTube. It is on YouTube with over 1 million views since it released a few months ago, and
Amazing.
just doing really well and reaching millions of people. And that's what our prayer has been, that it would start conversations, especially in the first responder community, and also touch hearts and change lives.
I'm proud of you, brother. That's not easy to put yourself out there like that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that, man. It's all about helping our brothers and sisters. That's for sure.
Definitely. Well, hey, I end all podcasts the same with 3 questions. Are you ready for those?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe I should.
It doesn't matter if you're ready. I'm going to still give
All
them
right,
to you.
here we go.
All right. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Well, my first instinct is stay close to God.
There
Um,
you go.
that would probably be my first answer. Can I have? If I had another answer, I
You
would
can have
say
another one. I'll give you another one just today.
stay in IT. Don't be a cop.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I like that. Yeah, you know what? It's all those different paths that you take, you know?
Yeah, you know, I'm sure that there's a calling on my life. I don't know that I would have been able to escape it anyway.
Exactly, exactly. All right, here's the second one. So everybody's going through challenges and struggles in their lives, and if you could give people two habits that they should start to incorporate in their life daily, what would those be?
Um, it would be to exercise. Um, doesn't have to be an hour, but do something to keep yourself in some sort of shape. And the other thing I would say is, you know, find your purpose outside of your job. And
Love that.
what I mean by that is, you know, find something that you love to do, you know, that you can pursue as a passion that is not something you're required to do.
That's awesome. I love that. This last one's going to be fun because everybody always has different answers. So if you could have coffee with three individuals that could be deceased or alive at a firehouse table. So in other words, you can ask any and every question. Who would those three people be and why?
All three of them at the same time, or just
All three at the same time, and
oh
you
god.
have to serve them coffee. Or I
Uh,
could be there and serve them coffee, whatever you want.
I would love. I think I would like to be able to sit with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just because I haven't got to talk to him since I was 12,
Yes,
and um, and I think I do believe that I will see him again in heaven, but I don't. But that would be neat.
yeah,
So just because I love him, he's my dad, and I would want to tell him of all the stuff that I've been doing in my life. So
that'd be
um,
amazing.
that would be a good one. The other two, oh man, this is a tough one. That's a tough question. Uh,
I love it. That's why I do it to
yeah, that's really
you.
good. I'm gonna say, let's see. How about Billy Graham?
Oh, wow,
Uh,
that's a good one.
yeah, just because he was such an amazing speaker, he never wavered in his faith, and he never and he accomplished so much to help others. So and he remained humble. You know, I think
Right.
that's the big thing. You know, is not let anything go to your head. So I think that would be he would be another one. Um, and then the third one would be uh, this is going to be a hard one. So this is just what's coming to my mind. So I'm going to be honest and go ahead and say it. The third one would be my son Christian, who passed away when
Oh,
he was.
wow.
And so this is probably supposed to be like a happy, cool,
No,
relaxed thing,
this
but
is exactly what I wanted to hear because I mean it's about the people that are saying them because it's giving you that chance to go, hey, yeah, this would be amazing.
yeah, you know, I never, you never, I never met Christian. I never, you know, got to see him grow up. So I also believe I'll see him again. But that would be neat to be able to speak to him. He would be 9 now, I believe, because
Oh,
he
wow.
it was 2013 when we lost him. So if my math is correct, yeah. But
Yep.
yeah, so that would be kind of a little reunion with Billy Graham and and my father and my lost son.
Wow. That's a good table right there. I love that. Well, I appreciate you being so open and definitely everything that you're doing for the first responder community as well as other individuals. So, keep on that path and definitely thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thanks for all that you're doing, brother. I really appreciate your time, and I'm grateful to be on with you.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast, and please share this episode with a friend or family. To find out more about Fireman Rob or reach out about a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.